How you feeling after the break?
Okay.
Was that as much punishment as you've taken in a game?
In a while, probably. It's been a while since I felt like that on days after a game. But it's football.
Ben, when you see that you're the most sacked quarterback in NFL history, what do you take away from that?
That I played a long time, and I held on to the ball too long.
And it seemed there were several instances where you were asking for the ball to be snapped, and they were still making calls.
Right.
Was it just crowd noise, or
Yep.
calls, or what?
No, just sometimes when we're changing a play or what we were doing some was calling just a formation and then trying to let them identify, and then coach would tell me the play, then I have to communicate it. But 95% was just straight crowd noise and trying to communicate, because the way I had to tell Trey had to tell a telephone game. So it's not an easy thing to do, and credit that loud environment.
And there's been a lot of discussion about no-huddle. Is it tougher to run that from the beginning because you don't know some of the tendencies that you see during the game than you would later in a game? Or?
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. Sometimes as you progress into a game, you start to see what's going on. You can start to not figure things out, but figure out what calls you should be making and stuff a little better. So there's definitely something to that. Sometimes we've come out of games and done it first series. It's hit and miss sometimes early in games. You never know.
And Mike said yesterday maybe you guys scaled back a little bit on the audibles. Maybe not RPOs, but just the audibles are changing at the line. How does that affect you, or does that affect you negatively at any point?
No, we do it some. I wouldn't say we do it a lot. And we've had no issues doing it at home. I think you get a loud environment and it's hard to do. Sometimes too, you want to, if you take away the audible or the check with me kind of play, it's less thinking. When you change a play at last minute, guys have to really pick it up quickly and figure out what they're doing. And when you get guys with less experience, it can be trickier. But I think I don't know what he was speaking about in general, but I just think we need to we need to play smarter football, and sometimes that helps.
Those lines, when you go no huddle, do you think guys start maybe playing a little more instinctively and more relaxed?
Sometimes when you do that, you're just
Because you're not thinking.
yeah, it's just one play and you go. And sometimes we've talked about that here in the past, that defenses also can't do as much. Not always, but sometimes can't do as much. So sometimes you get into a rhythm and you get going, and there's kind of a lot of little factors involved with it.
When you look at the no-huddle from where it was at the beginning of the season to where it was now, I know you guys are using it even less earlier. How has it kind of evolved, and is it running smoother from your perspective?
It hasn't changed too much. We're doing a little bit more of it, and sometimes games just dictate it. When you get down or whatever, you kind of have to go to it. Sometimes we'd like to. I think the goal would be to use it just to change tempo, not because you're down or up, just to change the tempo sometimes. So, it's just different. Guys are learning and evolving with it.
Ben, one last thing about the audible. Is it more difficult for the younger receivers or the inexperienced offensive line together?
Probably the line, because a lot of the receivers have been here, and so they know some signals. If they can't hear me, I can give them a signal, and they can resort back to what we've done. I think they can get it. If you don't have a signal for a play, it's really hard. Trying to yell 20 yards out there in Minnesota is not easy to call a play sometimes.
You have a shot. You're going to pass Philip Rivers on Sunday for 5th place on the all-time yardage list. Does that mean anything to you right now?
It means I played a long time. No, personal things. Those are things you look back on and reflect on when you're done. And anytime you get up there with, I'll even call him a legend. He's my draft class, but still a good football player and a legend football player. So it's cool. We just played a long time.
And when you were growing up, your favorite quarterbacks, did you notice how their careers ended or how it played out for them at the end?
Yeah, a little bit. I was I was lucky. I grew up with that Montana, Elway, Marino, Kelly, and I think the hardest thing was watching Joe go to the Chiefs from the Niners. That was really tough. But obviously, you remember Elway won his Super Bowls there at the end, and so a little bit, I guess, to answer your question. You paid attention as a kid. You knew what was going on.
Do you ever let yourself think, well, how is it an end for me, or let yourself drift off and think about that at all?
Not yet. I think I'm living right here, right now, and we gotta make a run. You know, we gotta play good football, and we gotta play great football, and that starts with me. So I need to. I can't get caught looking at the end, because I need to focus on right here in this week.
In that same vein, looking at your draft class and the quarterback in the draft class, you can take notice when those guys decide that it's time to hang it up and kind of look around like, I'm the last guy here.
Well, I knew I was the last one this year, obviously, when Philip decided to go coach, and you know, it's I don't know, it's just a lot of football.
And what tells you that run that you need is in this room?
I think you just have to look at guys sometimes and look in their eyes and see what they have. And that the crazy thing about this game and this sport is you can look at guys and you can feel that guys have all the heart in the world, and they have all the passion, they want it, and they're going to give you everything they have. And sometimes the other team's just better, or the other team makes a play and you don't. It doesn't mean just because you're losing a football game or you know, the season maybe isn't going the way that you want it to. Doesn't mean guys don't have heart and don't love it and aren't passionate for it. It doesn't mean that. And so I just want to see that guys are never going to quit. You know, I had a talk with Najee maybe halfway through the third, before we really kind of started to make our run last week, and I just told him, I know he was frustrated, as we all were, and I just told him, I said, hey, what you do the rest of this quarter and the fourth quarter will really determine kind of the person and the player that you're going to be moving forward with this city, with the fans, with this team, because you're going to be here for a long time. And are you gonna kind of, you probably have every right to kind of back off and not quit, but just start, you know, send another back in, or not run hard, or do, you know. And I said, you know, whatever you decide is going to endear yourself to these fans. And you look at I think we had a third and short, is it third or fourth and short, and he ended up bouncing off three guys, running back this way, running the guy over, and just catching a touchdown. I mean, blocking. Some of the things he did in that end of third and fourth quarter, I think spoke volumes of the person and the player and the heart that he has. And I think he'll always endear himself to the fans and to us as a guy that's going to never quit and never give up.
Speaking from experience with that, I mean, there's games early in your career, you had broken nose, broken foot, whatever. I mean, is that where you learned of that?
Yeah, I mean, you sometimes it's learned, sometimes you just have it, and so I think every person's different, and that's why I just wanted to. And maybe I didn't need to say anything, Najee. Maybe he was going to do it anyway, and you know, I don't know, but I just wanted him to know where I was coming from. I wanted to see what he had, and I know people wanted to see it, and he showed up and did it, and I thought it was great, and you know, I was proud of him.
Then in that same vein, are you worried about, you know, talk about Najee endearing himself to the fan base? Chase has got a fair amount of heat for the first down signal at the end of the game, and maybe wasting some time. Do you know, is it worth it to sit down with him and maybe revisit, hey man, this is how we approach things?
You know, I you know, Chase's locker's a couple down from mine. Obviously, as a receiver, we talk after the game. You know, I told him I appreciated his effort. I mean, he helped get us back into that game. You know, and so Chase and I have had talks. I mean, we communicate, we talk, and you know, I know Chase is going to come out here today and probably give you everything he has, and we need to count on Chase because he's a really good football player, and I think and really believe that he'll give us everything he has this week.
And all three of your receivers made some plays down the field.
Yeah.
You gave them shots. How important is that moving forward? I mean, you have those chunks like that, and then making plays like that.
Making plays. You're exactly right. James Washington going up, making a couple plays. Chase made a couple plays. Tay does it, you know, all the time too. So I think that's the cool thing was seeing James really step up and make those plays. The touchdown, I think the bigger one was the one down the left sideline. He goes up over top of the guy, kind of a true 50-50 ball, and he comes down with it. You know, we're going to need those plays. We're going to need guys to make plays, and I thought that was awesome that they all did that.
Ben, Mike talked yesterday about players when they get here being unfinished products, and it's his job and the coaching staff's job to kind of pour into them and help them become professionals. You said you played a lot of football, so at what point in a career do you feel like you are a more finished product, or are, you know, the mature pro football player that they're looking for?
I think probably it's individual. Each person's probably a little bit different, so it's hard to answer that as a broad stroke, I think.
Is there a point in your career where you felt like, okay, I get it now?
I played a long time. I don't remember, truthfully. I don't know. I'm sorry.
One more.
Pat, at the time, you said he was taking it hard, and you know, he gets string defenders around him.
Right.
Has he kind of gotten over that, and then also on that throw? Was that throw from the outside? You know, it's your craft. Was that one of your better throws in that building?
Well, I think Yeah, I did and still do feel bad for Pat, but I think the thing about Pat is he's shown amazing maturity and professionalism that he has moved on. I think it'll probably always sit in the back of his head and his mind and his heart that, what if, I wish I would have, because that's what you expect from a professional. You expect a guy that wants to make every play, and he wants to do that. But on the other side of that coin is you have to move on. And I talked with him, and I saw him today, and he is he is focused on this week and what he can do, and I just think that speaks volumes for him. Someone that takes it hard, but is able to move on, knowing that if the next opportunity and when the next opportunity presents itself, he's going to make the play. And I believe in trust. I have zero worries about or thoughts about not going back to him at any time.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.